this idea of the city as a contested, socially produced, imagined, material, ecological kind of space. What you get with the rise of cartography is that it's not simply that these maps are used to describe the world, but actually they provide a model for thinking about the world that you can then use to describe and to reason and to build. So that you can make a map of somewhere like Stratford, and from that map you can actually reason, oh, this road should go there, that neighbourhood should be moved over there. Emerging out of this Enlightenment period, we kind of then expect that the world is inherently ordered and that we can order it. And that Edward cited this as an impulse, a Western, Orientalist, colonial impulse to be able to do that. And they're really struggling with how do you project, or sort of the trajectory of a kangaroo, of this animal that does not behave in a way that we understand a rationalist form of movement to exist. So this is, and it creates a lot of anxiety on what if we find other things that we cannot calculate. What they discovered is that the coordinate system, this cartographic way of thinking the world, was absolutely perfect. The issue wasn't the coordinate system. The issue was the continental plate, which was slowly moving northwards. And so again, this kind of the impulse to be able to link this imaginary coordinate with a physical space, and the anxiety when the physical space itself is actually moving.
And this Olympic site, which should be reused, what does it tell us about a humanist way of making places accessible, of reusing places in the future?
Can you travel from the old shopping centre to the new one?
Without going outside, or I mean, the entrances are sort of opposite each other.
Oh yeah.
Or like you said, the observations that we're making, we could tweet them and see kind of like if anyone responds.
Exactly. What do people do there, and what is
the kind of interactions and activities?
Yeah, they're like, what can people do in this
in the
street, in this area?
What traces are there of the what existed before the Olympic Park and Westfield? Because we're not really sure what was there before.
In the 70s,
It's a bit strange, because it looks like there's a little road. Maybe you have to turn left and then you go round this thing.
Yeah, we couldn't have got there without...
So we were there, weren't we?
We couldn't have accessed it without getting past that fence. Okay.
I was like, I'll get an Fences of squares, so many squares.
It starts here, and really the emphasis is on everything new Stratford Place to be.
And we were looking into it through this fence, and I wondered how would you map somewhere like this?
See, that's the blocked off bit of the road, so that should go through, but it doesn't go through. Those are the buildings behind. That's Westfield and so on behind, and this is a building store.
Thank you.
So all these building materials, we looked at them closely, and they've all come from other places, obviously.
Here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is we were. You can see the crossing there. So this is where we were.
And you can see where it ends. It just cuts off rather than going anywhere.
So we thought then about those mapped spaces, and the spaces that through leaving them off the map, they become secrets, and even not by naming them, they escape regulation, they escape discussion, or even perception.
What I like about sound is it leaks, it blurs, it kind of cross-fertilises, so it's got a real tension with a map.
So it's really kind of interesting how certain groups of people were occupying different spaces depending on where we were.
So it's also pointing to the history of the place. So in this sense, the place is made both relational and historical by materiality.
I mean, going into it, we kind of assumed that it was a regeneration project that maybe didn't foreground history so much. It just feels very extreme here, the decontextualization of urban regeneration. It's kind of a parody of it almost in some ways.
So we looked for history, but we found the future.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just seems that there is a new version of Stratford emerging, which is maybe the one that people who are at Westfield crowding into it identify with, and then the other, I mean, doesn't entirely disappear, but maybe in some ways it does, or at least it's concealed or ameliorated.
Maps don't only describe worlds, but they also propose how we should see worlds, and then in doing so inscribe those worlds.